Happy Friday. Does it even matter at this point? Because things are going by so fast. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. It's going to be a very interesting talk. I hope you're ready. Let me grab something. So get ready because this is going to be a talk that we need to have. And it's going to be one of those things where if you haven't been getting triggered this week, I don't know where you are, because there are certain things that are happening that's bringing awareness to certain things that you've experienced, or it jogs your memory on something. Okay? So today's topic is, what is abuse? What is abuse? So we're going to dive into the word, the meaning of it, and what are the different types of abuse. And you're probably saying, why am I talking about this? Well, I know for me, I always lumped up abuse with something verbal or something physical. Okay? That's those two things. That's what represents abuse to me. But as I've been growing up into adulthood and everything else coming down into the years I've been on this planet, there are many forms of abuse. Okay? And I think in order to heal certain things that we experience in our life, if you can't look at it for what it really is and try not to sugarcoat it to make it feel okay, because to actually think that somebody that is supposed to represent a father or a mother or a brother or a sister or a grandmother or a grandfather or a priest or a teacher or a co-worker, and all of that in between, husband and wife, whatever roles there are, brothers and sister. What does abuse look like? And how is it disguised? So, I'll stay up on my water today. I went out in the wind. So welcome to Be So Light. I'm your galactic spiral light priestess, Makala, taking you down on another journey. First of all, I want to say thank you to all of you that have been tuning into my videos lately and have been putting likes on the videos and leaving comments. I read the comments and I come back and I answer you. And thank you for sharing with me that the content that I do provide has been making a change and a difference in your life, so you can see something differently for yourself. Let's get the sisters in here. There we go. So let's look at, first of all, the different types of abuse. There's physical abuse, there's domestic abuse, there's against your will sex abuse, there is psychological and emotional abuse, there's financial and material abuse, there is modern and slavery, there's discriminatory abuse, and then there's organization and institutional abuse. Okay, so today we're going to look at the energy of abuse and what that is, and why some of you might be getting triggered and not understand why you're getting triggered, because there's something that's happened to you when you were younger, and we just kind of put a little band-aid on it, kind of make it a little quiet and everything. But then as you're growing and you're in your adulthood, and then something happens that triggers that, and then you look at it, and then you might hear other people talk about something that you grew up with or went through, and when you hear a description of it, it clicks, and it's like, oh my God, that's a form of abuse, and I never even knew I was being abused like that. So this I'm putting a warning up. if you get charged or triggered by that word, there is a reason why it's triggering you. And today we are going to dive in and we're going to do some clearing work on those words. And we're going to get rid of the contract agreement of some things that you agreed to when you were in the womb and coming out, and then probably in your sleep and growing and all this stuff in different group settings. You were making agreements on stuff and didn't know what you were making agreements on. Hi, lovely. Welcome on in. So this, like I said, it might be triggering for some of you, but my intention is to really have you look at that word abuse. What does it mean to be abused? What does it mean when someone or something or an organization abuses you? Some of us are really good at just putting a band-aid on the situation where, oh, we're just going about our day, we shut it down because you're used to it. And then you keep wondering why you get in relationships and it's the same energy that keeps coming in. Okay, so we're going to talk about it. Okay, so let's look at the definition of the word abuse. So we already talked about the different types of abuse. So I'm pretty sure a lot of us experience what physical abuse is, domestic violence abuse is, against your will sexual attack, psychological, emotional abuse, financial, material abuse, modern slavery abuse, discriminatory abuse, organization and institutional abuse. So let's look at the word of what's the meaning of the word abuse. Okay. Here's the definition of abuse. Abuse refers to the cruel, violent, or improper treatment of a person, an animal, or a thing involving misuse or harmful actions designed to control or injure. It encompasses physical, emotional, against your will, sexual, verbal, or financial harm, as well as the misuse of power, substance, or rights. Okay. Interpersonal abuse involves harm to people or animals, including physical assault, anything against your will on your body, psychological intimidation, and verbal abuse. Misuse, improper use, the misuse of something such as drugs, alcohol, authority, or privileges. Intent often involves a pattern or behavior intended to gain power or control or to create fear. Common forms of abuse, like we already talked about, is physical, emotional, verbal. Now, physical means inflicting body pain or injury. Emotional, psychological means undermining self-worth, intimidating, or harassing. Verbal abuse is using insulting, threatening, and degrading language. The attack against your physical body, against your will. And then substance overuse or improper use of drugs or alcohol. Okay. So the word abuse in Latin terms means misuse or used wrongly. Okay. So the reason why we're looking at this is because, when we talk about the Cinderella syndrome, and I know for a fact there's a lot of you that grew up in families. You might have grew up in a family where your mother or your father wasn't your real biological mother or father. And you might have grew up in a situation where trying to express what love really was, or to feel loved, or what if your parents didn't grow up with someone coming up and hugging them and saying, oh, you're beautiful, or you're wonderful, or, you know, I'm so proud of you, doing that type of interaction with you, and you're an open spirit child who thrives on that need of love. You're just a loving being. So you're giving love, but you want to see it reciprocated back to you, but it doesn't come back to you. So then it makes you think something's wrong with you. Then when we talk about the Cinderella, that should be on here as abuse. It probably falls more under like a slavery type of abuse. But the Cinderella abuse is that one that I know for a fact a lot of people have experienced, where you're the one who has to caretake the house, you do all the laundry, you clean the floors, you're always sweeping up and cleaning up after able-bodied people who can do it themselves, but they choose not to do it because they want you to do it for them because they're too lazy to do it for themselves. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it the way it is. That's the Cinderella syndrome. And the Cinderella syndrome is very abusive because of the fact that you don't recognize it as abuse when you're young, when you're doing it, until you get a little bit older. And then all of a sudden you wonder why you don't want to go and hang out with certain family members or go over to the house and hang out, because it's something that triggers in you. If you go to that house, it's like a programming. As soon as you step in, as soon as you see something not right, or as soon as you don't see things the way it's supposed to be, you're going to start cleaning. You're going to start organizing. You're going to start saying, oh, let me do this for you. Oh, let me clean this. Oh, you're going to start doing it. And then after you do it and then you leave, you're looking at yourself saying, why did I just do that? Why did I just do that? Why did I do that? So I'm going to share this. I'm going to do it in a very general way, but I have to share it from a place of experience. Okay. So growing up, it was just me and my brother, my mom and my dad. Now my dad in my life right now, he is more considered like a stepdad, but I never looked at him as a stepdad. I always thought of him, he's my dad. But even though he's not my real biological dad that created me, that I still looked at him as my dad because he was there. Okay. And then I had my spirit father in Puerto Rico that was a father from another lifetime. How happy is that? And then the one that was the biological one didn't want to have anything to do with me. Okay. I know for a fact there's a lot of you that experience this abandonment, rejection energy. And this is a good time to talk about it and to just release that, because as these energies come up around us and certain things get triggered, you have to be able to sit there with yourself and look at, why did this get triggered in you? Why is it a charge in you? Okay, what caused it? Why are you sitting in a parking lot crying over something that just happened that brought up a past memory that you thought you were over with, that you thought you shifted through, but it brought it up so crystal clear, like you were right back there in that incident at that timeline when it happened. What do you do with that? Well, I'm going to tell you what you do with it. So me growing up in this household, and I don't mean any disrespect to my parents, my brother, or anything on their spirit. I'm solely talking about how I now look at it and see it for what it really was. Okay. But I never knew And they probably at that time when it was happening didn't even think of it like that. It goes under the learning responsibilities, teaching you how to run a household. That's what it comes under. So when you are, like for me, dusting, cleaning, it was a 2-story house, Italian flooring, entryway, laundry area, kitchen, had to be cleaned on my hands and knees with hot water and vinegar to make it shiny. Yeah, you're getting a picture. So chores of when you go to school and then you come home, these are things I had to look at and do. Laundry, everybody's, including my own. Ironing, everybody's, including my own. The only thing that I made sure that I did not do successfully is cook. Something just never sat right in my spirit. I was doing all of this stuff, everything, it was being handed down to me to do it. And I hated it. I can understand helping out, doing, no problem if everybody's doing it together, but I was the one doing it. It was put on me. And the thing about it, when I would go in and have to clean my brother's bedroom up because it was all messy, he had his stuff all over the place, and it was just stuff all over the place. And one day I just snapped. This is how you know that you're a spirit being of your own light. And I remember, I'll never forget this. My mom had told me, go clean your brother's room up. It's all a mess. And I walked in there and I saw clothes everywhere. The bed was unmade, trash, and just, young boy, how they are. Now, there's only a 5 years difference between me and my brother. So imagine being maybe 16, going in, and you got to clean your brother's room. And he's able-bodied. He can clean up himself. You made the mess, you clean it up yourself. So the day I snapped, I just had enough. I had a lot of stuff going on at school. I was trying to do my tests, and I was growing into myself. And then something just snapped in my mind that says, this is not right. This is not okay. Why am I cleaning up somebody's room? They made the mess. They need to clean it up themselves. Okay? So I remember I looked at my mom and said, I'm not cleaning his room. And she goes, what did you say? I said, I am not cleaning his room. Are you being disrespectful to me? I said, no, I'm not. He's an I said, he has 2 hands, 2 feet. He stands up. There's nothing wrong with him. He can clean it himself. He needs to learn how to do it. Because if he doesn't learn how to do it, he's never going to do it. Yeah, that conversation didn't end too well. I still didn't clean the room. I said, I'm not cleaning it. I ran to my room after our talk, and I closed the door and I said, I'm not cleaning it. I'm not cleaning it ever again. For what? And I stood by it, and I didn't clean it. And then I just progressively kept looking at the dynamics of what I was doing and how other people should be participating in their life force. And I just wasn't going to keep doing it. Okay? So that was the Cinderella effect. But the way I really didn't know how that affected me is that I found myself, when I would go over and hang out and visit or something, I found myself automatically going into cleaning mode. Just when I would go over to visit and hang out and say hi. And I'm like, oh, let me go clean. Oh, I cleaned your shower. I cleaned this for you. Oh, thank you. I went back into that mode. And then I would get in my car and I would be driving home, coming back to Sacramento, and I would say to myself, what the hell did I just do? Why did I do that? So that's the Cinderella one. The alcohol one, how that keeps getting attracted into your life. Now, if you have any family members that had that type of energy and they were constantly drinking all the time and they struggle with trying to get out of that, that is a signature energy that is on you. Now, for me, I didn't do any drinking. I didn't do any drug dealing. I didn't do any of that. I was a bookworm. I was all about, I want to learn something. I want knowledge. I want to be helpful. I was all about that. I mean, I was the girl that was like, oh, what happened to the cat? The cat broke his paw. Oh, let me fix give me 2 popsicle sticks. Let me put the popsicle sticks on the kitty's paw and let me help anchor that so the paw could heal. That's the kind of person I was. I was a young Dr. Quinn in my own neighborhood. So I was always doing something like that. I was not into any of that other stuff, but the people in my life were. And then get married to someone that had that and claimed that he had given it up and then went back into it secretively. Had to leave that. And then you're meeting people in your life that struggle with it. And they do the necessary things so that they break that self-abuse of alcohol and drugs. They break it. But yet and still, it's always in the corner to challenge them. But it's really all about perspective and about choices of what can trigger you to go back into it. And I used to have a friend that would stop drinking, stop doing the drugs. And it's hard to be in a relationship with people of that because they don't know truth to save their life. So if they can't be truthful to themselves, what makes you think they're going to be truthful to you? And that's that whole spectrum right there. What makes you think they're going to be truthful to you? They can't tell truth to themselves. They're not going to tell truth to you. Okay? So then you have that energy that you look at and you're like, I don't want to be bothered with that energy. Okay? So now when you look at church stuff, schooling system, banking systems, governmental systems, all have their forms of abuse, misuse of power, forming control over other people's will. We live on a very abusive planet. And it's not Mother Earth that's abusive at all. It's the beings that are on the planet with us that are projecting this energy. So when we hear abuse, when we hear or feel ourselves getting triggered back in the past of something that happened to us, this is where we have to pause, take a breath. If the tears start to come forward, let the tears come up. Allow yourself to go to that place where that trigger took you. So to be triggered yesterday was like, holy Toledo. So I'm going to keep it very short and simple. But there were some friends that moved and I had mail going to that place. But I didn't know that they made the move And then after they made a move, I automatically go, oh my God, I got to get my mail to stop going to this place because they went and moved somewhere else. I got to do a mail change. Nobody let me know. So that just, after I'm being told about it, I'm like, how long? What, a week ago? And I'm like, I'm like, oh, great, And then I started thinking, oh, thank God I didn't fill this out, and I put it in the mail because it would have went back to an older address, and then I probably wouldn't have got it, and I would have paid all that money, and a panic set in, and I was like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, just like this, it was a trigger, and I see myself in my younger days, early 20s, with one of my boyfriends at his house, and I'm in tears. And I see the closet, the little open up closet in the hallway. And I remember I opened it up just to see my toothbrush, a brush, a comb, some body wash stuff sitting in the cabinet in the closet hallway. But he was already cleaning the carpet, had all of his stuff moved out because he found his house. He told me about his house he was going to get, but I didn't know he'd already got it. He was staying really quiet about it. And I was just like, I said, well, obviously you moved, you're cleaning the carpet. He goes, oh yeah, I put your stuff in the closet there. I said, when were you going to tell me that you finally got the house? And he was like, well, I just started getting busy, and, he started stumbling over his words. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And so I'm looking at him like, you bastard. I just got that look on my face. That look came over my face. I went into that closet, I opened it up. It wasn't even put in a bag. It was just sitting there on a top shelf. Everything else out of the house but my stuff. And that right there, I stood there and I said, I thought we were in a relationship. I thought you cared. But if you care about somebody, you would at least, put my stuff in a box and take it over to your new place and then take me there and show me your new home. And I'm like, I got my own place. I'm paying for my own place. I'm working. I'm not trying to lay up on you. No. But I'm like, so I remember I took a bag and I put my stuff in it. And I looked at him. I said, as far as I'm concerned, I hope you enjoy your house. I hope you'll be very happy there. F you. Goodbye. And I left. Now, he kept trying to call me and tell me I was overacting. I said, no, I said, I would never do that to you. If the shoes were reversed, I would never do that to you. But you did it to me. So obviously, I'm not good enough to go to your house, your new one. I'm not good enough for that. Good enough to have fun in the bed, but not good enough to go to your new house. Okay, gotcha. Gotta go. So, and you guys, I'm keeping it real here. This is where this trigger took me. And I said, oh my gosh, and a tear started coming down. And the emotion at that moment was, here we go again. Not good enough to tell me what's going on. Abandonment, secretively doing stuff. What the fuck, And then I just stood there for a second, and actually sitting in a car, I sat there and I was expressing this to someone, telling them what this was and what it made me feel like. And I was able to purge it right then and there. So yesterday, I'm going to tell you something. I was supposed to come on yesterday, but because I was in a funky feeling, I didn't want to come on. I didn't want to talk. I just wanted to process what I was feeling and just be with that moment. So That morning before I went out, the little signs came up on the wall again. This time, this sign was there. The symbol was here, but it was like this. It was reversed. And then it faded away. It was on the wall behind me. This faded away, and then this stayed. And I said, and I kept looking, and it just stayed right there. Just stayed. One dot right there. And I'm like, whoa, okay. So it's actually tone number 1. And that stayed on my mind yesterday. About, I should have came on. I should have talked about the message. Tone number 1. I didn't talk about it. I was too busy processing my stuff and blah, 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 And I went ahead and processed it, got it out, be done with it. And I said, I'm going to use this as a teaching because this is how triggers and charges come up, even though thought I was done with that, but it was something that happened that triggered a whole thing. And it just made me feel like that again. So I'm glad I went ahead and I sat there and I went through that. I did my tears just came out, just kept coming down. And then I said, okay, I'm not on that timeline. This happened, but I can go ahead and make some changes here. I need to make some changes anyway. And I said, okay, this is a part of getting things in alignment. But at the moment when it happened, it was like, charge, trigger moment, boom. And I was like, oh. So that's, if you haven't been feeling those subtle little triggers of emotional stuff coming up or things that you have to look at that's making you understand what is abuse, what is that we're really talking about when we say the abuse word. For a lot of people, you've gone through something like that. And if you did healing on it, great. If you didn't do healing on it, it will come up. So let's talk about medicine group abuse. Let's talk about job abuse. Let's talk about anywhere where power is misused. Anywhere where someone becomes manipulative to get what they want. And they strike out and they verbally attack you. They can physically attack you. They can energetically attack you if they want. That's what that abuse is. So now, when you find yourself in a situation and your head starts clicking off points saying, wait a minute, I've been through this before, or wait a minute, this is charging me, I'm feeling a trigger behind it, you can actually stop and capture that root energy and say, I see it for what it is. I'm releasing this. So it can no longer have an effect on my nervous system. Think about it. Some of you have a lot of anxiety, sadness, depression, oppression, things that come up that hold you in this sadness. Constantly looking for someone to validate you, to love you, to give you that validation that you're worthy. You're worthy for human love. But here's the thing, and this is the part where a lot of us, even as healers, stop turning the pages of my book, please. Healers look at things and say, I think I need to really allow myself to heal this. I need to recognize this, because it's dangerous if you just put a little band-aid on it, or you throw the carpet over it, or you throw the covers over it and keep on going, because that's still there. And then something else will happen and it'll trigger it and it'll be bigger. So let me tell you what tone 1 was, the little dot that showed up on the wall. It says tone 1 magnet. Starting power. Each wave starts with the first tone. This contains the starting power and the complete theme of a wave. As associates, the sigil represents twice here. So say, for instance, if you are a red dragon wave, and this is an archetype you have, then the wave has the same rule, therefore the theme is more intense for you. So that one tone is exclusive, starting power. That one is running and then moving on. Good for starting something, not so much for finishing something. Okay, so then this morning, I look, and then this time, right here in the ceiling area, there was 2 dots, rainbow dots on the ceiling. I was like, okay, 2 dots. So tone 2, lunar. Duality. This tone connects us to the duality on our planet and allows us to recognize the difference that we individually live. Recognizing the difference and accepting this in order of the day on the tone and the essentials to live joy and success. Negative evaluations often arise from rejection and acceptance of difference and individuality. So I'm like, this is how interesting things have changed, where the galactic calendar that I work with the galactic calendar, and you flow with the 13 moons. Some of the scope of the Gregorian calendar, not flowing with that one. You just stay with a 13 moon calendar that shows its cycle. It just really starts showing up in your life. So not to get off track about the subject of that. So one of the things that was coming up, and I'm just sitting with the whole thing, and I was writing in my journal about it, expressing, my emotions about things that came up. And then this morning I'm listening to other people. They were talking about certain things that were spotting off and how they were getting triggered, and astral realm, and going out and then coming back and feeling so tired, like you've been kicking ass all night long. And then the guy says the word agreements. A lot of us don't remember the agreements that we made when we came here. And I go, that word right there, agreements. Not so much about soul contracts, not so much about, but that word agreement. What did you agree to? And is it still valid? Or were you tricked into an agreement when you were incarnating, coming here? And so far, since you've been here, you're like, oh, hell no, I want to get this whole contract voided right and left. But we made so many agreements in our voice. We made so many agreements in our signatures. Tricked, spelled agreements that have been printed on us in our senses, that enslaves us to a low vibrational timeline of certain energy to be stressors. Say, for instance, banks and bills. Being born in a womb, sitting in a womb, and then hearing a mother and a father, or maybe both are there, maybe one's missing, maybe both are there, talking about money. This is going to hit home with those of you that keep having flashbacks of money stuff that hunts you, that makes you feel like, oh my God, if I take a day off from work, I'm going to fall apart. I'm going to be financially devastated. So let's go there. The womb. You're in the womb. You're hearing, oh, gotta budget this. Oh, I don't know. Should we really have a child at this time? Because we gotta be able to afford things. And I'm gonna have to get another car. And we're gonna have to move. We're not gonna probably. And then what if you weren't planned for? I really wasn't ready to put up and have a child. I don't know how this is gonna be. I had plans. You're in the womb. And you're hearing this. You're hearing the voice. You're feeling the tone, the vibration in the womb. You're feeling it. And you're there saying to yourself, well, it's too late now. I'm here. Should I continue? And then what if your mother goes through something sad and the partner takes off? Doesn't want to have anything to do with her and the baby. So now that energy is in the womb. The spirit of abandonment, the spirit of rejection, the spirit of sadness, the spirit of depression, the spirit of, oh my God, what the hell? I came at the wrong time. Came here at the wrong time. But what if that wasn't yours to take on? What if you could just go back to that womb and say, I'm not going to agree to any of this energy that I'm going to be subjected to when I am born and as I grow up and I'm in the matrix system of this world that's going to put its other signature on me. So we talked about the definition of abuse, what that looks like. We talked about the different type, what that felt like. We talked about how you can get triggered. We talked about how you look at it, how you move through it and release it. Allow yourself to see it for what it is and release that. Now let's go into the womb. And I want you to just take a moment and just kind of sit straight. Get yourself nice and comfortable. I know it's a Friday and you're trying to figure out what the hell am I going to cook and what am I going to eat for this. I don't know if I want to eat. But all I want you to do is just get yourself comfortable. And then make sure today you like and subscribe and put a like on the video so it can help others get clear. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to take you on a quick journey into your womb, into the womb. I want you to go back to the womb. Okay? So as you go back to the womb, I want you to just go back to that womb space. See yourself in the womb. So close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale it out. Deep breath in again. Exhale it out. One more deep breath. Exhale it out. Now, all I want you to do is just feel yourself sitting inside a big orb of light. And all I want you to do is to turn that orb of light into like a crystal, a quartz crystal. That's going to represent the belly. And all I want you to do is just see yourself as that fetus back in the womb. And whatever you were hearing, whatever you felt, whatever you felt that's an agreement that you're going to take on, the emotion, the sadness, whether it was joy or disappointment, energy, right now in this moment, I want you to not agree to that energy. And all I need you to do is say, I right now in this present moment, through my sacred heart, I do not, and I will not, continue to carry an agreement of the spirit of rejection, the spirit of abandonment, the spirit of unwantedness, the spirit of disappointment, the spirit of money issues, and I am not taking on any more contract agreements emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually of my mother and father selves, of their template of belief that they passed on to me. Take a deep breath here. Hold a breath. Exhale it out. And just say, I now break all agreements that I was not conscious of or unconscious of, that I did not know about what I was agreeing to when I was in the womb and when I came out of the womb. And all that I journey through in this lifetime right now to this present moment that has never sat well with me, that has always felt like it was not mine, I now break the agreement, the contract agreement. I now break the contract agreement of all of that, of what I was given in the womb, that's not mine to carry. What I was given after I was born through the institutions, government product, through the churches, through the school systems, through the banks, and even medicines that were created in products. I even now break all contract agreements with diseases. And I just want you to take in a nice deep breath. Hold a breath. Exhale it out. Beautiful. Take another deep breath in. Hold a breath. Exhale it out. And right now, let's do a body check. And anything that I accrued in my body that is nanotechnology through the air, water, food, or any other means that's not supposed to be in my body, that is not a divine part of me, I now command this energy of this technology to be fully deactivated, to be fully deactivated, destroyed in all its aspects, for it does not work on me. I do not agree to the energy contract agreement of this technology. Therefore, you are now transmuted, neutralized, deactivated, voided. I now have cleared my headaches, my foggy mind, my body neural issues, and anything that is in my RNA, my DNA, my mitochondria, my electrons, protons, nucleus, cytoplasm of a cell, and all my cells, down through my lymphatic system, my plasma, my lymphatic, all of the blood, down into my bone marrow, into the bones itself. Let it all now be cleared through the diamond white light of divine source. And let the subconscious mind and super subconscious mind clear and correct this immediately. Now, breathe, inhale, exhale it out. For it's done, it's done, it's done. And now just feel this bright light infusing through the quartz crystal sphere that you're in, allowing it to activate your crystalline body and bringing in a beautiful rejuvenated energy into your energy light body self, bringing in bright light. Feel that coming in to every part of your being, bringing in balance, bringing in a higher frequency, talking to all the cells on all their levels, feeling really good. Let the root chakra, sacral, solar, heart, throat, third eye, crown, soul star, and earth star now be in balance. Breathe that in. Let it now be fully divinely aligned and activated. Breathe that in. And let it now all be anchored into the higher timelines of the organic part of Mother Earth. And let it now be where you are fully unlimited and expanding through all light spectrums of your true higher self. Let all parts of your soul parts, or wherever they have been stranded, picked apart, left behind, let them all now come back to you and return to you through your sacred heart space, completely healed and in balance. Call yourself back, either by saying your birth name or your name, and just simply say, I call all parts of myself back to my sacred heart, healed, divinely aligned, revitalized. I gather all my soul parts back to me. Take that deep breath in. Hold that breath. Exhale it out. And now just see your beautiful crystal sphere itself filling up with beautiful light. Breathe that in. Know that everything is being rejuvenated. Your body feels great. Feel the spine receiving beautiful energy all the way down the spine. Feel the connection into the divine source. Let it nurture you. And just know from this point on, when you drink water, water helps to rekindle all vital parts of yourself. Your body is being healed and energized. And you're able to get good rest tonight when you lay down to sleep. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale it out. And allow the crystal sphere to now descend down into Mother Earth, leaving you crystal clean, vibrant, joyful and happy, connected, and feel that surge of energy all around you. Feel energized, feel powerful, feel awake. And when you are ready, bring a well attention to your hands and to your fingers. Bring attention to your feet and your toes. Take a breath here. Inhale. Exhale it out. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and be present. All right. Take breath. If you need to drink some water to get yourself back into that space, please do. And I hope you feel the difference. And I want you to know that your voice can command and change things. But you have to really trust yourself and know that you can make that command. So just kind of allow yourself to be in your space. So already we are done. Today is the last day of this calendar. We are moving into our next calendar, solar moon. Oh, so this is the blue solar hand. And this one is, I pulse in order to know, realizing healing. I seal the store of accomplishment with the solar tone of intention. I am guided by the power of abundance. The color is blue. The planet is Earth. The chakra is heart. Interesting. The Earth family is core. There is no room for today. And the message here is the perceiver can be likened to the instinctual, cosmic, telepathic, internet chat room, imaginable, installed, or imprinted in the human brain. Sirius B52, hyperplasmic enlightenment, as well as the seventh mental sphere, which is right here at the top. the perceiver, and then being on the 9th time dimension inner core timeline. So they got 7 and 9 going on. So we're stepping into, starting tomorrow, the solar moon. And it is one of my favorite animals we're stepping into. It's the jaguar, the moon of intention. So we will be starting that tomorrow. The moon of intention, we're on the 9th moon. And that's already setting us up. Oh, and tomorrow is a portal day. Oh, tomorrow is a portal day. Yellow planetary star portal tomorrow. Oh, yeah. So just know this is intention. We start the new moon cycle of intention tomorrow. So that's what we're going to be in. And this is going to be that portal activation for it. So this is about the magic of self. Jaguar and Panthers have that magic of self energy with it. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to pull 2 cards for our message for today. And then I'm going to let everyone get into their space of what they need to do for themselves. I hope you enjoyed this and it was beneficial for you. Adjustment, looking back, moving forward. Ooh, adjustment, looking back and looking forward. Looking back and moving forward. Yes, adjustment. A lot of times when we look at things that trigger us or make us feel uncomfortable and we have to look at it, what is it that we need to see it for so that you can move forward? The affirmation for this is all about, it is safe for me to stop and reconsider my path and process. I am patient and courageous in the choices and the change I make. So being true to the self when you're making that change. Let's look at what does the Queen of the Sun Oracle have to say. I like these cards. I did a read for one of my clients when I was doing the reads. I think it was on Saturday. I was doing these reads, or was it Sunday? So I give all the reads, and I'm telling her, your reading is telling you need to take a break. It's telling you, hey, lovely. It's telling you got to take a break. It's telling you got to get rest. Da 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 da. So today when I check in on her, she was not doing good. She was sick. And I go, did you not read your reading? She goes, yeah, I read my reading, and it was like right on point, because my body was just stressed out and tired, and I ended up getting sick. So she's finally laying down, getting some rest. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So this one is Beltane. This one brings in passion energy, but that's that duality energy. And we still have receptacle to what are we receiving. Okay, now we'll look at the crystal of the day. So I'm not sure if any of you are feeling your crystals calling to you, but it's a good time to start really paying attention. If there's certain ones that you need to work with, if there's certain ones that just need to be near you so that you can do that. Thank you for the like on the video. And there's a movie, if you like good adventures movies and you want to try to figure things out and figure out how it's all going to turn out at the end, watch the movie called Uncharted. Uncharted. It's on Tubi for free. Watch that movie. It's a good movie. It's one of those action movies. Oh, carnelian. We got our carnelian here. Now, that's all about that root. Okay, carnelian is all about that root chakra. Carnelian is a good stone to work with when you're just needing to kind of be grounded in the self. It's I find carnelian to be more of that. I don't know why. For me, is very Egyptian carnelian, but it's also written in the Bible all over the place. It's one of those gemstones that's used a lot. They had a lot of carnelian um, back in the day in a lot of your jewelry wares. It says increase confidence, dignity, poise, and self assurance is what carnelian brings into your space. Let's go for it. Let's go for it, energy. All right, lovelies. It's been my pleasure to give you the info. So pay attention. I am going to share this with you. Now, I went off on a tangent last night. And I don't know, after my whole releasing of that incident and whatever, I went on a tangent late last night. And I started talking through the ethers, and I just let my voice rip out there. And I said, you know what? I am sick to death of hearing, oh, they're out there, they're going to be, they're protecting, oh, you know, oh, they're going to be here, nobody's going to be saved, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm hearing all of this blah, blah, blah crap. And I said, first of all, I said just like this. I am Priestess Makala of the Galactic Spiral Light Medicine. I hold each and every one of you accountable and responsible for all the stuff you witnessed of what was happening on this planet, and you knew what we were dealing with, and you did nothing. Except some of you made contracts and deals, but you did nothing to help the children, and you did nothing to help humanity. And now all of a sudden we're at this point, and now all of a sudden we're supposed to just jump off and ride off into the sunset and be arisen and awake and all this stuff, when all of you witnessed what we were going through. And you did not fight hard enough to help us. We could have been done with this a lot sooner, but you did nothing. And then I went down and said the names of Andromedans. I hold you responsible. I hold the Lyrans responsible. I hold Sirius responsible. I hold Vegans responsible. I hold the Palladians responsible. I hold all of you so-called higher beings that knew what we were going through responsible and accountable. You did nothing. And now what do you want? Us to just say, oh, no, you did nothing. You did nothing to help us come out of the sleep of everything. So after I said that, I said, that feels better. I'm glad I got that off my chest. Do with it as you will. That's what I said. I don't care anymore. So later that last night, I wake up. I must have pissed somebody off. Somebody probably said, I'm going to go down there and pick her ass up, you know. So right here, this is really a busy part of my wall. Right here on the wall, I literally see like this, like a door, like this shape, like this on the wall. So this the space here, here's this frame. And then I see like this hinge thing like this across the ceiling. But I cannot figure where it's coming from because there's no light shining through the window. There's nothing here that's projecting on it. This is not lit up at night when I'm sleeping. And I'm looking and I said, wow, that's different. That's a different thing. Why is it sitting there? And I'm looking and it's just sitting right there. It's sitting. And I said, oh, I must have ticked somebody off because somebody's now got a door right there and they're creating it. And I laid there and I just kept looking at it. I said, I must be right. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? It just sat there. It just sat there. And I'm like, where the hell is it coming from? Looking at this wall, there's nothing on the doors. It's dark in here, but that was lit up right there. That shape. Right there. And then it had like a line hinge across the top of the ceiling. And I'm like, well, what are you gonna do? And I started thinking about that scene in Daddy's Home 2. And it's the scene where they're doing the snowball fight. And Will Ferrell's got the snowball and he's doing this. And Mark is like, you gonna just keep fake pumping that thing or are you gonna throw it? And he's not throwing it. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, gonna open or what? What are you gonna do? And I said, you know what? Then I must be right. I said, here's my test. If you're not benevolent light, you have to go. It stayed. It was benevolent. So I pissed somebody off. So I said, well, you're staying, so, well, okay, fine, whatever. And I just laid there and I said, well, nothing's happening. I'm going to go back to sleep. You can hang out there on top of my wall all you want, but whatever. Not. I'm still here, you guys. So, but yeah, there's this whole part of the wall has been very interesting. Very interesting. I'm like, interesting. Pay attention. Pay attention to the orbs when they come in. Pay attention to that creak sound. Pay attention. Pay attention to the conversations that take place in your bathroom and you're not in there. Okay? Pay attention. Pay attention to those subtle, the watchers whispering. You can probably hear them. Okay? You're not losing your mind. You're not crazy. You just got heightened senses. And it's going to get stronger. All right. Go enjoy your day and have your food and eat your chocolate and make sure you stay hydrated because the ride is about to really get super fast and crazy. But don't be like me, lovelies. Don't piss them off too much. Unless you want to just, I don't know. I just, it's kind of like poking the bear. That's what I was doing. That bothering you that I'm saying those things? You guys knew and you did nothing but make contract agreements on things that we were not aware of. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to sugarcoat it. Why should I? We are in a spiritual warfare, right? So we have to keep doing the work on ourselves, bringing ourselves on blah, blah, blah. I say we're already there. I'm all out of bubble gum. It's ass kicking time. Doesn't that feel good to say? We're just going to rewrite the whole script, rewrite the whole movie because we didn't like how it ended out. And we're not going to have a repeat, period. So with that being said, lovelies, remember who you are. Be true in your light. Remember tomorrow's a wave day, portal day. Use it well. Stay true to yourself. And I send each of you Much divine love and grace. Have a good day. Bye.